for your candor. It would have been very easy to come in here and say, I'm for less spending and greater services, and you didn't do that, and I appreciate that. The three themes that I have heard are development, spending, and quality of life. And development and spending, to me, are two sides of the same coin. What we're really talking about is the impact on the individual taxpayer. So it isn't so much the level of spending, but what a larger population or a larger real estate base means in terms of the individual's tax bill. What I've heard is sort of a continuum where some of you emphasize development as a way to reduce taxes to the individual taxpayer, and some of you would attack spending and rely less on development. So I'm curious to know how you arrive at your position and how you would make that trade-off. That's one dimension. The other dimension is quality of life, and it's the same thing there. In the near term, quality of life is not going to change much. In the far term, it will, depending on how we handle development, how we handle the continuation of our open space program. So there's a sort of a triangle there that you've got to navigate through and find yourself some spot. And I'm curious to know where each of you falls in that triangle of development, spending, and quality of life. Thank you.
Okay. This one's going to be a little harder to answer in 30 seconds, so I will give each of you a minute. 1 minute. Mr. Farrell.
You know, I actually found out about the Woodmont Orchard piece earlier than some others because of my position on the task force. The P&S was signed 2 years ago. It was immediately brought to the town manager and then immediately brought to the town council as it unfolded over a 6 or 7 month period. During that time, it became very clear that some things are going to happen over the next 10 years and that we need to have active people from the community shaping what this looks like so that we can achieve exactly what Mr. Speltz is asking about. Balance of life, balance of what's good for this town. People who get involved, who want to see some sort of mixed development that is actually for the future of our community and our children. The other piece to the spending side is that, very frankly, as these things go on, it's a balancing act. And you've got to be very aggressive from the standpoint of being able to provide those services and not decrease them, yet at the same time, you know, figure when is the revenue going to come in, and you need to lean against the developers and saying, if you're going to make this a destination of choice where people are going to want to live, work, and everything, then you need to work hand in hand with the community.
Thank you. Mr. Green?
Yeah, it is a very delicate balance. I agree with Mr. Farrell. It's one that's very, very important for our future. I don't like really the way things are going in Londonderry right now. I don't like our apple orchards being taken away from us. I don't like the reasons why I moved up here to be taken away. I think sometimes we have to look at this balance and say, you know, why exactly did we move here? What attracted us? And try to make sure that those things that attracted us are things that stay in Londonderry so that they can attract other people to town. We continue to grow, but at this rate, with more and more of these apple orchards and historic landmarks and going away, it's going to be less and less of a quality of life for us. You know, recreation, all these open spaces for our kids to play and recreate in, those are all very, very important and an intricate part of our future. Remember, our kids are our future. They need places to have parks, and they need places to have fun. We need places to go pick apples and stroll along when we have days off. I mean, this is what Londonderry is all about.
Thank you. Mr. Dolan?
I think you think of the community and how we define our community. You got to think about the school system. We got to fiercely protect that. And when we bring development to the town that pays additional taxes, $2 out of every 3 go to the schools to help the schools. Now, the school district can't bring additional business to town. The town council can. So it's not just about town government and forget about the rest of the governments in town. Town council has to play a role in a partnership with the school system. And let me talk about open space. You know, if you think about it, we really need to congratulate ourselves as a community that we did something with open space, starting with our apple orchards back in the mid-90s. The loss of Woodmont orchards could very well be the last apple orchard that leaves Londonderry, instead of the first. And that difference is the town had enough fortitude and foresight to be able to do that starting in the mid-'90s. Now, we started to lose Sunnycrest a little bit, and we got involved with that, and we started preserving that. So thanks to the community having that foresight and spending that money, we've been able to maintain that quality of life as how we define ourselves.
Thank you. Mr. Siekman?
Spending and economic development is, you can lump them into the same category, you can compare them against the quality of life, but both affect each other immensely. We can't exactly expect the best quality of life and then have no businesses and no economic development and spend no money to maintain that. You want a high quality of life? I mean, it costs money to support those things. The only way to get that money in, businesses pull in more than families. So we have to balance that and just say, where does our quality of life want to be? What are we willing to do for businesses and economic development?
Thank you. Mr. Frieda?
I think the question was how do you derive at your decision versus development versus spending. And for me, I've been a CPA for over 20 years, and I've been an attorney that's done a lot of bankruptcy cases. And what's always been the bottom line in that is the overspending by the business, by the individual, when they couldn't afford anymore, when they lived beyond their means. So that's what brings me to emphasize spending first. When you control your spending, that's when you have the savings to do all the other things you want in life. As for quality of life, I believe in a quality of life, but an affordable quality of life, because I think the worst thing you can have is the oppression of debt. I think, frankly, the idea that open space envisions is a little bit beyond our means to achieve. We can't have open space everywhere within a 10-minute walk, but we can have it in certain areas, and I think that's what we should strive for and strive to protect just that.
Thank you, Mr. Frieda. We'll go back to the press. Mr. O'Meara?